Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Educational Gamer, and we are playing Strategic Command World War II World at War. So, yeah, France has fallen, and we are now standing alone, quote-unquote, as the UK. Of course, we still have the support of the Empire, and even the US seems to be a little bit more inclined to fight directly with us. So that's fine. We will be turning over towards the Axis very soon, but before we are going to do that, I am going to do one last research. I know I'm overspending on research, but as the Soviet Union, I do want to spend a little bit more on command and control over here, so that our headquarter units will be a little bit more useful in the future and will be covering longer distances and more units, and I think that is something that is going to be extremely valuable for the Soviet forces, so that is why we want to take that. It's probably not going to be in there in time for the invasion, but that's still going to be fine. So let's see what the Axis does in Africa, what they do maybe in the UK. Will we see an invasion? I doubt it, but there is a certain danger of that. We certainly built up our air forces, but our ground forces in the UK are still very much lacking, so let's see what is happening over here. British morale is shaken, and we will very soon, I think, have a look at the situation. So, here we go. I think this is a very significant decision over here. So the First Lord of the Sea, Sir Dudley Pound, argues that the only way to prevent the French fleet, remember France has fallen, has turned into Vichy France, and is leaning a little bit towards the Axis. To prevent the French fleet from being used against us is to attack and sink it in port. Some French battleships could end up in German hands should they conquer Algeria, or were the Vichy authorities to join the Axis. It is therefore proposed that we launch Operation Catapult to strike at the French fleet in Mars el-Kebir. Carrying out this attack will cost us 35 MP, and we must prepare for strong diplomatic reactions from the Vichy authorities. Do we want to do that? Yes, we do. I certainly don't want the French fleet to be taken up in against us, so yeah. French bombers attacked Gibraltar in response to the attack on that, without much effect though. It is proposed that we launch an attack on Dakar in French West Africa using Royal Marines and Free French units. Some of the gold reserve of the French, Belgian, Polish governments were held there, and their capture could prove us with a significant financial worth. If successful, General de Gaulle's prestige will increase and our own economic situation will be improved by the capture. Nevertheless, could attack the Vichy authorities to swing towards the Axis. It will cost us 35 MPP, and you know what? I think I do want to do that because money, more money? Yes, I think that is something that we definitely want to have. I didn't, by the way, know about that situation, so that is certainly something that I do want to look up. There we go, some fortresses being finalized by the Iraq is swinging a little bit towards us. I would much rather like the UK to be the US to be launched against us. Here we go, representatives from Poland, France, Canada, the UK vowing to fight against the Nazi menace. Chamberlain dies, and okay, someone is raising morale, that's nice to see. Okay, developing better tanks, that's also very good. Naval warfare for the US, that's important. Spying and intel is very important for the US. Anti-tank weapons as the USSR, not as useful as you would think. And there we go, USSR production technology, that is very important. And advanced fighters for China, that is something that we need to take into account. So production technology is very important. Ooh, just look at the income. Gold from Dakar, 200. That's very good. That's also very good because we are currently in a situation where we need to upgrade a lot of forces and start to turn the tide against the Nazis. So let's see whether they'll invade the UK. I doubt it, but they'll probably be preparing for the run against the Soviet Union, actually. I guess the Japanese should be withdrawing these air forces, otherwise they are threatened to come under attack by us. That was an attack I didn't see. Escorts, ooh. We're being hammered over here. So far everyone is holding up though. That corpse might be threatened. Zero attack over there. We're taking some damage. Ooh, but the Italians seem to be running out of steam a little bit here in East Africa. Bombers have withdrawn. We are starting to see German tanks on the border and German troops. A lot of German troops basically. So they must be operating a lot of units over here. Which is costing them a lot of money as well. But all in all, that is a little bit to be expected. Because they were so far in the east and they only have a couple of turns and it's very hard to walk over here. So yeah. It's costing them a lot of money, but then again they raided France for 1,000 industrial points. Well, we'll see. We are getting more destroyers as the UK, that's very nice to see. We are disrupting some of their supply lines over there. Calculating supply. So it does get turned over towards us. Yeah. Some intel. A little bit meaningless for now. Heavy cruise over there. We have captured the car. And we do get a lot of new units, so let's see about that in a second. First I want to start with China though, and let's start with China in the north over here. So things are starting to look up a little, I feel. Let's briefly look at the supply situation though. Okay, so we can move up further, I believe. Generally I consider 5 still to be okay. Should we advance even further? It's only gonna be 3 or so. 4. 4 is not great. Can advance with the army over here. Shouldn't attack though. There is a railway line over here, and just to start and threaten that, we'll move up that corpse over here and start to maybe swing around over here. I would like to advance over here, but I would like to also follow that up with a strong army, and this is not a strong army anymore. So yeah, let's make sure to upgrade these guys. These guys can then hold out for now. Does it make more sense to upgrade you guys to advanced fighters? I think in fact it might. So we are going to upgrade you. I'm also going to tell you to not defend next turn. Simply because I don't think you have the money to do that. Okay, things are starting to are looking okay over here. I guess you could be reinforced. Does it make sense to attack anywhere over here? It does not, but what might make sense is to push in over here. Start to threaten them a little bit more strongly. And you know what? I am going to move these guys in. Simply so we've entirely cut these guys off now. I mean, this is a very strong and dangerous army. Oh. Can do an attack over here that would result in a good trade for us. Didn't, of course, but could have. Yeah, these guys, are they out of supply? Nearly. 2-2. 2-2 is not a good trade. Yeah, I would also like to move these special forces. Okay, let's move up these guys all a scooch. Okay, Gary, you can move over there, you can move over there. You can come in here and attack a little bit. And that's fine. Okay, you can be reinforced. That garrison is doing fine. Yeah, we might as well. Increase their morale a little, oh sorry, their experience a little bit. You should be upgraded at some point. Yeah, that attack is pointless. Okay, so that does leave us with a situation down here. So this army, they're all a little bit vulnerable. I think it does make the most sense to sort of try to attack this over here. Nice. Good national morale boost as well. And then you can come up a little bit. Start to threaten Nanjing. You. I think it's nearly impossible to move down here. So yeah, that's not something that we should be doing. Okay, you can be upgraded. There's that little green icon there that tells you things can be upgraded. Unless of course they're out of supply. Which this unit currently is. Unit you definitely withdraw then. Why did you take such a beating? Let's move you directly into the supply depot. Over here we could attack. It doesn't seem to lead anywhere though. Let's reinforce you. Yeah. I would like to move this unit in. But we can't. Okay, let's deal with the south down here. We are making some progress, so I do like to see that. Be reinforced. Could attack. Let's attack down here. You are getting a lot of experience from that, so that's nice to see. Can't move you. You know what? I guess what we could do is move the garrison down here. Next time we will be switching these units around so that they can be resupplied. Okay, then this army over here. I mean, this supply situation over here should be alright. I'm guessing it deteriorates down there. And it does. Could attack you, would reduce your entrenchment. Let's do that. Withdraw you, move you in. Again, remove your entrenchment a little bit. Good trade. Good trade, happy with that. So that does leave this unit. I think you did attack. We could circle these guys all the time. Not sure it's worthwhile, so let's simply reinforce you for now. Make sure we are in a good position to attack next time. That should be alright. Good. Good pocket over here. I'm worried about these guys. But at least we can be reinforcing them soon. But yeah. They also have a very limited room actually to switch units around. They actually need to swap them, and that does cost morale. So I'm happy about that actually. So yeah. Good, good, good. So China is good, I believe. That should bring us over towards the war in East Africa. Can we attack? We can, it wouldn't do us any good. We don't really have the supply necessary that I would like to see. Can't even upgrade you. Supply situation is horrible. So I think we actually need to try to advance on Masawa over here. Enemy contact, we knew that. We knew that! Ah, god damn it. Should have moved you over here. How's the supply over here? Okay, you need to come over here. That's fine. Garrison unit. Just start to advance towards over there. You can't be reinforced because of the supply situation. Your supply is enough to reinforce you. How would the supply be over here? Okay, let's bring it back so that we can upgrade your units next time. Oh, that was surprisingly bad. Yeah, so this headquarter unit is keeping these guys in supply. That's a little bit of an issue. Unit up here, it could be upgraded, but I don't think in any good way. Mobility is of course nice, but not crucial. And then what we can do is bring up the bombers over here and hope that you will be able to turn the tide. Northern Africa then. You are very well supplied now, as should you be. Well, not very well, but okay-ish. The tanks. Can you be upgraded actually? I don't think so, no. You're fine. Bring you up now? Yeah. Readiness and morale is a little bit so-so, I have to say. And yours is really horrible. But you could come over there Okay, so let's bring the army over here. Start the attack on Benghazi. Losing a little bit too much there. You can be upgraded, but not if you are not in supply. Let's bring it closer towards base. Corps is coming over here. Again attacking for some effect. It's not dramatic. Could start bombing runs. Could bring up a battleship. But can we withdraw then? Dubious. The tanks, you can be upgraded to what? Better tanks. Yeah, that's a lot of improvement, so let's do that. The field artillery could make your way forward. The fighters. Reconnaissance has moved. The desert group over here. Make sure to get you guys ready. The anti-tanks are useless for now. The carrier does need to be upgraded. What are your properties? Yeah, you need better fighters and longer range aircraft. And there's no point attacking now. We can't force the attack anyway, so let's bring you home. And you're really dug in? A little bit. Okay, let's bring the battleship forward. And that should allow us to do a couple of things. Right. I think that's basically fine. You are still... I should probably set you to auto assist so that I can pick which unit you're supporting. So for example, you don't need to support the artillery. I'd much rather like to support the army. Actually. Okay, let's upgrade these fighters so that they're a little bit more long ranged and simply better. The artillery can also be upgraded to better artillery. Yeah. Definitely a good thing to do. Garrisons, we don't need to upgrade you. Everything else down here should be fine. These light cruisers, fighters and all of that should also be alright. We are still not seeing anything of the Italian fleet. But that's alright, I mean we don't need to. Algiers is fine. This carrier needs to be upgraded, but we can't do that here, so I think we should try to bring it close towards home. Need to stay clear of France now, because they might have all kinds of shenanigans over there. Don't see any hostile presence over there, so that should be alright. Guess we can upgrade this corps with better infantry weapons, so that in case there is any enemy attack, we are prepared. These fighters are all doing fine. We could of course do some bombing runs and all of that, but then again, I don't really think that's a sensible thing to do. Pull back the headquarters a little bit. We have these bombers. The garrisons could be upgraded. No point to me. Could upgrade the tactical bombers. That's a little bit better. Let's reinforce these land and lease destroyers so that we can attack any enemy submarines. Don't think it's worthwhile to upgrade the destroyers or light cruisers with just AA weapons and that kind of thing. I'll actually move down here. I suspect that you'll be covering more towards the Channel coast actually in the future. Submarines are still fine, so that does leave us with these guys up over here. Battle cruisers, you could actually get an upgrade at some point. Heavy cruisers, you can provide this sort of distance cover, and that definitely we do need as well. Because the Germans do have some surface raiders. And then these destroyers will simply cover the sea lanes. And you should probably make your way home so that you can reinforce your minor damage. These carriers I do want to bring home. I could force move you, and that might not be the worst idea. You bring out the battleship and then force you towards over here so that you are in port, and then I guess we can bring you towards port as well. And again, these destroyers. We are trying to find some submarines in at the end of the day. Yeah, we lost the French fleet, and that is a bit of a loss. But all in all, I do think that we are fine over here. So these naval bombers then, you should be upgraded to long-range aircraft. Yeah, that's gonna make you a lot more valuable. You just moved into here. You don't really need to do anything. You just moved into here. These tactical bombers. Okay, let's bring the tactical bombers towards Wales or Plymouth down here. So that you're sort of covering that area. The naval bombers we might bring down here as well. I suspect that there's not going to be too much activity in the North Sea anymore now that France has fallen. Okay, any more upgrades? Yes, I guess on these tactical bombers. Long range and naval seems to be fine to me. Destroyers down here. Let's bring you towards the other port in Gibraltar. That should be fine. Good. It can't be upgraded. Okay, fine. I guess there are some units down here that should slowly make their way towards friendly territory. This corps down here. Not much we can do with you right now. Ooh, but what we could do... Oh, you can be upgraded. Infantry weapons, interesting. So, let me see India over here. You don't have any logistics level. But that's fine. What I do think what we do want to do... Well, let's first upgrade you. That's definitely worthwhile. And then what I'm going to do is bring them over towards Africa over here. I think that's going to be important. We can actually place our new units as... So we do have some Royal Marines. That is nice because I would like to threaten Norway a little bit over the midterm. So yeah, let's place them in Newcastle. They are also going to be a good defense over there. The Formidable. Can we place down here. And the New Zealand light cruiser. Certainly going to need to be reinforced at some point, but of course you're going to be based in Auckland. Some US destroyers should simply be based along the coast over here, and some US fighters. Likewise, you'll be sent over to Europe. What's Europe? Destroyers for the USSR. I suspect that, you know, over here we might be protecting our supply lines a little bit, and then we do have engineers for the USSR, and that's maybe a little bit more relevant. So where would we like to place our new fortifications? We can't place them on a town itself, but it might, for example, be worthwhile to build them up over here towards that sort of direction. We could also prevent some flanking maneuvers maybe down here. Here we do have the river defense, so I think what we want to do is simply extend our fortifications over here. So that's fine. Let's tell you to do exactly that. Let's fortify. Two sides I think is fine, and simply towards the west. Everyone else over here is fine, but we do need to move our engineers over here as well. Guess we can move you up there. And you over here. And yeah, likewise, you probably need to build up defenses. So we can cover Bialystok a little bit better. Set mode, fortify. Oops. Yeah, I think that's a good choice. Good. Other than that, for the Soviet Union, it would make most sense to buy a couple of units, but we don't really have the money for that. And I don't think upgrading is a priority. Could buy a couple of garrisons for over here. You know what? Let's do. Oh, let's actually look at the. Sorry, research first, and see whether you are maxed out on your production technology right now. So I think that's fine. So that I do think what we can do is buy a garrison unit. You want to improve your infantry weapons? Yeah, we might as well. 10 points? I mean, I don't expect you to be fighting at all. Yeah, so your defense value against hard units is going to increase by a lot, so let's do that. Can place you over here then and defend against attacks from the east. So that should be fine. And we do have another Chinese army, actually. That's very good news. So where do we want to place that? Down here we could start to be a little bit more aggressive. Can even place it down here. That might be a good choice so that we have a little bit more oomph over here. Yeah, well, let's do that. You over here, and then we can sort of cycle these units out. Because I think we are lacking a little bit of the attack down there. Right. So that does leave us with quite a couple of points as the UK. And I think we might want to spend them on diplomacy on Yugoslavia. Because I would like to throw the axis a little bit off balance over here. It's not that expensive, it's only 50 points. We could spend the rest on the USI, which might not be the worst. I mean, it's expensive, but I think it historically makes sense to try to get the US into the war as quickly as possible as the UK over here. And that, yeah, to me that just seems to be the way to go. Oh, actually, we haven't moved these guys. Just sailing out of port real briefly. That should be alright. Good. Everyone else is alright. India could buy a couple of new things. What could or should they buy? I mean, you have gotten better tanks, right? Advanced tanks. Could be good. It's taking it a while, but I think it's a good thing to have more tanks. Yeah, let's do that. Let's buy these guys. That's fine. And then as the US, of course, we can spend a lot more. As the US, how is our research looking in terms of production technology? I do want to hold off until I get that, because everything is going to be a lot cheaper once we do have that, so that is fine. We do need better infantry weapons, certainly at some point. So you know what, let's do that. Let's spend some points on that. There's going to be a bonus since we are doing that while the UK has the advanced technology as well. I think that is actually true for the fighters as well. So yeah. And you know what, let's do also intel, because you really can't spend too little on intel. It is increasing your research technology after all, so yeah. I think for the nations that are investing a lot, that does make a lot of sense. Good. So we are starting to see a lot of German units appear on this border, and we only have 6 months left or so, maybe even less to go, until they are starting to launch Operation Barbarossa. I have gotten a couple more allies down here, which is bad, certainly, but I do think we are starting to turn the tide a little bit towards over here, and certainly China is looking very good, although that doesn't help us against any any attack from Germany. Still, over here, this might be very interesting to see. Will we be able to destroy, how much is that? 4 Japanese armies and a corps. Corps. Right, let's see how that turns out next time. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys.